Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That would be me and friend. And my friend tonight is Mary Streich. Mary Streich is a community member, and she hails to us today from Oklahoma City. Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Doing well.
That's good to hear. And there's a couple of reasons that I invited Mary on tonight, and we'll get to that here in a few minutes. But before we get started, everyone, if you just take a few moments into the comments and tell us where you're from. We're going to talk a little bit about weather, and I know that this isn't a weather channel, but we do talk about the weather here because weather does have an impact on our lipedema. So tell us where you're coming from tonight and what the weather's like, because I'm here in Boise, Idaho, and the weather has been up in the 104 to 110 degrees. But I'm in the desert, so we've had like 18% or 12% humidity. Now I know you guys, that means basically it's dry. Yes, it's been dry. And of course, for the first time today, we've had some wind, so there's no smoke from the wildfires here. But yeah, when I say when something is humid where I live, it's like 25% humidity, not like where Rosa's from, where it's 80% humidity, right? And I have lived in Virginia, and let me tell you, I know how humid something gets where you can't even get your clothes on. So make sure that you give us a little bit of a weather report. It breaks the ice, or I mean, really, or it melts the ice. One of the two these days. So I am going to introduce how I know Mary. Mary is a community member with Lipedema Simplified, and she has she's kind of hung around in the background a little bit, like most of us do, until she got comfortable, and then she opened it wide up. She became a heart circle host this year. And Mary, were you a heart guide during our heart to heart event?
No, no,
No. So but you were a heart host and held a
a circle.
a circle or a gathering, an in-person gathering during Lipedema Awareness Month.
Mhm.
And so that's really exciting, because some of us, we feel pretty shy, or we feel like, I don't have time for this, or I have, I just don't know if I have anything to say, or, there's so much that goes on in us when we first find out we have lipedema, or when we first start gathering with other people with lipedema. Sometimes we get a little bit, we're not ready. And Mary, you got ready this year. What drove you? What compelled you to be a host for one of our gatherings this year?
I don't know. Last year I was a host, but nobody showed up. So, um,
Oh, you had a party and nobody came?
yep,
That's
yep, yep. So,
heartbreaking.
this year I have had there'll be 9 of us. So, I got involved. I've always been a volunteer and doing things in the community, and I like people, and so I agreed to do that. And I've it wasn't hard for me to do the get together and everything, because I've done things like that before when I was younger. So we had fun, we had a real good time, and different women from different parts of the city, and um, everybody, of course, had this could talk about the same topics, and yet we asked each other questions and got information and learned about their lives. And we talked about everybody's life and what they're doing. And I think by the time we finished, they were real comfortable, pretty apprehensive at first. They weren't quite sure what they were getting into, but it was. I think it went real well. We're still talking. We're on a little group, and so one lady asked the other night about nutrition, and so we talked back and around about nutrition, and so we're going to get together again the first part of September. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what we're up to.
So, when you say you get together, so is one another person going to host it, or are you going to continue to be
No,
the host?
I'm hosting it.
Yeah,
I'll do it 3 times. I'll do 3 this year, and then we'll see about next year.
yeah, yeah. That's really amazing when you said that you, because you've done other events in your working career days, you did events, and some of them were pretty large. Because I was telling you, I remember talking to you and saying, "It's going to be okay, Mary. You're going to be fine, even if you're nervous." You're like, "Well, I'm not nervous.
Uh,
I've done this before." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that about you." You
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, you've held huge events, and
Mhm.
so this was a tiny little gathering for you. Um,
It's different. I mean, I've never done this kind of thing, but I've spoken to large groups before in person. So,
right, right. And now when you held this event, did they expect you to be an expert, or did they realize that you were a patient as well, a lipedema patient as well?
oh, the event. Oh, you mean the circle?
The
Um,
circle, yes.
no,
I'll
no, no. We were everybody. Everybody knew they were. We all had lipedema. All 9 of us have lipedema,
uh-huh.
and some have lymphedema. I have lymphedema and lipedema. So,
Right,
all ages. A young woman who newly diagnosed, and then 3 of us are going to be 80 or around 80. So, and then we go. So it was the whole gamut of ages, and it didn't seem to matter,
right,
because
right.
we had all had one thing in common.
And I like how you said it didn't seem to matter, because I think that some of us feel like, okay, so you're close to 80. I'm 64 this year. We have women in their 70s in our community. We have women in their 40s and their 50s. And it seems like sometimes we get a little nervous that the younger crowd, that they're not going to respect us, like understand the how we've struggled with this all our lives.
Yeah.
But they've been struggling too, and so they look at us either as wise people who have gone through it all, and who are giving them maybe some stuff they can use to maybe slow things down or treat it before they get to the point where we finally go, after 5 decades, somebody finally tells me about this,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. It's like, I mean, when we can talk in decades, can't we? Where
yeah,
other people are talking in years.
right.
Yeah,
And it's the little things that you don't know, and then somebody says something about it, and I'm like, well, I don't know that. That sounds. I mean, I need to know that, and so at first I was so frustrated because I didn't know it all. I wasn't, and where do I start? And you just plunge in there and start with something. And I do listen to the webinars and and even I get on Facebook and read the things because it's just interesting and you learn things.
right, right.
So it's been helpful.
You know, and that's the thing. We find we have a um, medical advisor. His name is Dr. Matt Carmody, and everywhere, he hangs out with us. He was Catherine's primary care physician for years, and Dr. Carmody. I shouldn't just call him Matt. I know I've met him in person, and so I get to call him Matt. He's a sweetie, but Dr. Carmody says the wisdom is in the patient,
Mhm.
and that, and we're a community. of patients. And so it's even bigger. We expand on that. The wisdom is in the community, is in this community of patients. You can't go wrong when you start talking to other people with lipedema. You just can't go wrong.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Trust. I trusted each one of those women immediately because they
Right,
were going, and that's just me, but they were doing the same, going through all the same things I was at different levels and at different periods. But we all knew what the other one had been through and was going to go through. So
right, right. And that makes a huge difference that we can trust the other person. You didn't feel like you were going to be judged
no, oh
in
no,
any way.
no one did. Mm-mm.
Right. And yet sometimes when we go to a doctor or some type of a care provider, or even when we get into a group of people that we're not sure of, we hold back
Hmm.
because we don't know if we can trust them. We don't know if they will understand what we have to say. We don't know if we'll be heard. And we've been invisible and we've been silent for so long, and we want to be seen, we want to be heard, that that's an amazing statement that you made. You were trusted. You were trusted. They were trusted.
And
What?
when I first joined Lipedema Simplified, I kind of held back. I didn't know whether I trusted these people that were I was now involved with, and the knowledge I was getting was so good. Yet it was opening places that I didn't know about, and so sometimes it was frustrating. And but it's just taken, as you said earlier, it's taken me a while, and now I feel really I have a family. So
Mhm.
a group of women that we're all like sisters.
Yeah, and isn't that amazing? Mary, before we continue, I'm gonna call out some names of
Oh,
the community members who are here today. So first of all, I would like to say hi to Rosa. She's from South Carolina. Kathy's here from New York City. Marilee's here from the Pacific Northwest, just around the corner from me, about 6 hours. Anne Marie is here. She was a heart guide and a heart host as well. Um, she's from New Jersey. She's having a heat wave in the 90s.
hmm.
Kendra's here. She lives in Vermont. Hot and humid. We had some heavy rain last week, though, which devastated several communities. I am so sorry to hear that, Kendra. When the floods come, it's pretty harsh. Esther's here from Oregon. She says it's 95 and climbing. Had the 100-degree days last week. Yep, we were pretty warm last week out here. The high heat makes her legs swell something awful. And that's one of the reasons we want to talk to people about the weather. How is the weather affecting you? And let's see, before we go on, Jane's here from St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. It's 26 degrees. It's too humid for her. It's 32 degrees with the humidity. So that's in Celsius. And so I haven't done the quick math, but if the heat goes up because of the humidity, it's pretty warm for her. Nelson Vasquez is here. Any lipedema events in Florida coming up? I do know that we have no in-person events being held by Lipedema Simplified, but Dr. Nelson, I'll tell you, if you want information about stuff, just send us an email, and I'll get that email out soon. Paige is here. Um, Donna's here. She's another member. Pat's here. She's in Pennsylvania. Jody's from Wisconsin, and Donna's from New Hampshire. So we're all over the United States and Canada today, and it's so good to see everybody here. Now I've told people that I would give you an email address that you can find out more about our events or whatever. Just send support a question to support@lipedema-simplified.org. That will give you information. There's another way that you can get information from our, hold on a minute, for our online events. And I'm going to show you that event. It's called, I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's called Calendar of Events. Boy, the word calendar escaped me for a minute. But anyway, so in the calendar events, you can find all kinds of our online events. So make sure that you check that out. I'm putting that in the comments as well. Let's see what Kathy has to say. Kathy says, it is so hot in New York City. My gym AC is out on 4th and 6th floors, including a large Olympic pool area. Portable AC units are there, having to cool the pool temperature. The area is very humid, second heat wave week, and no target date yet of either when it's going to stop or when they're going to have the air conditioning out. Yeah. So you said something to me earlier today about how until now you didn't understand why life was so miserable when it was humid and hot.
Right.
Um, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm new. I'm self-diagnosed and newly self-diagnosed about 2 years, and so I really little things like that aren't like major signs. I hadn't seen that, and so I was out and cleaning my garage for a couple of days, and I got so sick I had to go to bed because I got so hot,
Right.
and and the other day I got really hot, and it really doesn't take much for me. And I live in the heat all my life. We're in a heat advisory right now, so it's been hard for me. I mean, I just don't go out that much in the summer, certainly not for long periods of time. But that's it's just learning new things, and then you ask, and you get lots of help and information from other women, and that's another thing I really like about Lipedema Simplified is everybody's very open to sharing.
So, do you do anything? Do you do anything special to keep your body cooler? Like use, I mean, do you have any methods other than staying in the home with your air conditioning
Well,
on?
I wear a hat, not it's a full head hat because it the heat coming like a visor or something like that doesn't work. And have you seen those things that you wet and put in the freezer
Uh
and then
huh.
put around your neck? That's real
Yep.
helpful.
Yeah.
'Cause your neck and then your wrists are another place if you can keep like a wristband on there that's cold. Because that part on your wrist is real sensitive to your body temperature.
Right.
So
Right.
those are some things.
Yeah. I know. I got some cooling cloths, um, where you get them wet and you squeeze them out and you drape them around your neck or you wrap them around your head. And so we have some of those. I do know that some of our community members will fill a spray bottle, a spritz bottle, and they'll like spritz their compression as a, because you wear your compression in this heat, and it's like, oh my word. And so they'll spritz their compression a little bit. I have a story from a community member where she'll soak her feet in cool Epsom salts water, just to restore the magnesium in her body and take care of those swollen ankles. um, I was able to climb into the pool the other night at 9 o'clock at night. It was still daylight, right? And I got out there, and I was able to walk in the pool, and that that was awesome. I mean, granted, the pool was pretty warm still, but it was much cooler. than the exterior air, and I wasn't out in the sun, right? Because it was 9 o'clock. So and then Juanetta said Costco has a fan that you wear around your neck. Even in Alaska, there, because she's from Anchorage, they're even selling them in Alaska. So and she's thinking of us, and she's sending us a cool breeze. Thanks, Juanetta. Oh my gosh. So, so Mary, when you said you were self-diagnosed.
Yeah, I just
How
figured it out.
how did you figure it out?
Well, I was initially told I had lymphedema, and I had no idea what that was either. They just said you have lymphedema and go on, So, but things were swollen that didn't make any sense. I'd studied lymphedema, and it was, extremities and your legs and I was told I had primary lymphedema. So it's a hereditary lymphedema, but it just didn't seem right. And my body that just wasn't the way it was supposed to be. So I started doing a little more research. One Friday night, I was up late and I was on the computer just looking around. I used to be a librarian and I do research pretty well. So I love to do it. It's like a mystery. So I found lipedema, and I found a lot of different articles, but I looked at lipedema simplified, and it seemed like the best thing because it was personal. It was not a bunch of newsletters all the time or something. And I joined. I just I joined at Friday night, just in the night. I said, I think I found my spot. But then I had to get comfortable with it, and I did, because the whole thing is, it's not, there's nothing comfortable about it. And,
Right, right.
no.
No, you do kind of got to step out of your box a little bit
Hmm.
and go, okay, my comfort zone is here, and I've got to make some changes. So I've got to get ready to take a chance, right, and
Yes.
learn what's happening. So we can have a blind eye, or we can take the blinders off and
Hmm.
go for it. And so I'm so glad you did. And Kathy Plavkin, she's also a researcher. Hi, Kathy. She says, "Good for you, Mary. God bless the librarians."
Yes. Yes.
God bless librarians.
Lots of high school kids that do that. Bless their librarian.
Oh, isn't that wonderful to have the blessings of all the high school kids out there who love their librarian? No, it's interesting because I can remember I loved my librarian, Mrs. DeLong. Um, I've been married for 45 years, so um, I
Yeah.
still remember my librarian's name.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So Kathy was saying that when a trick to stay cool showers, love the mission shirts, hats, and neck gaiters. And here in Idaho, we have different types of neck gaiters. We have one that you wear when it's cold, that you can burrow your chin down. A gate, it's like a cowl. If anybody doesn't know what a gaiter is, it's just this tube you put around your neck. Um, and then, of course, you have gaiters that are cooling gaiters that are made out of cooling cloth. Spritz and cool down. She uses it in the gym after a workout. A neck gaiter and towel based on old golfer trick. Wet a paper towel down and put it on the back of the neck. Yep. I
Mhm.
can remember having wet washcloths, or I was a cowboy's. I'm a cowboy's daughter, an old cowboy's daughter, and you dip your bandana in and put that wet bandana around your neck. So yeah, that's um, here's another librarian Here's another librarian
All
from
right. We may take
Kathy.
over this group.
Yeah, don't persecute librarians or books. Leave them alone. That's right. We need our librarians, our libraries, and our books. Love it. So, so you said you searched the internet,
Mhm.
just playing around, just digging around. You found Lipedema Simplified, and it was Friday night, and you
Yeah,
got it.
I remember it was in February of 22, I guess, of Friday night. And I just had enough. It was a mystery, and I had to solve it. I had to
Yeah,
figure out what was going on, you
yeah,
know.
and you said about Lipedema Simplified that it was because it was personal, because
Hmm.
they were talking right to you.
Yes.
And I know that if I remember correctly, in 2022, it was just a few months afterward, in April, that we held our heart to heart event.
Yes.
We held an event, and um, and we've really it's an amazing event. So, have you gone to any of those? Any of the
Me?
heart to heart? Yeah,
Oh,
you.
oh yeah. Me? I do the events. I think the reason it's good information, but there are lots of international speakers. And I didn't realize that Europe seems to be so much further ahead on this than the United States. So, and I enjoy that and newly published books, and it's just good information. And then they have little breakout groups. There's a presentation, and then we break out into groups of like 5 or 6 and talk among ourselves, and we have a topic to discuss, and you really meet people that way, and we all get acquainted, and then we do our thing. But I like it, and it's like I said, you trust these women from the beginning because they're having the same issues that you are, maybe a little bit differently, but we've all got lipedema or lymphedema and lipedema or just any of it,
Yeah.
because it's just it's been a shock.
Yeah. And so speaking about these heart to heart events, that was a good segue, Mary. We are having a heart to heart event in September this year. We have one in the spring and we have one in the fall. And our fall event is going to be on September 27th, 28th, and 29th. Right now, we're holding an early bird special. I don't know when this early bird special is going to end. They keep telling us not too much longer, not too much longer. So right now it's $97 for a 3-day event, which is less than 30. It's less than $33 a day, and these are 8-hour days. Amazing speakers. We
Mm-hmm.
have heart guides there. I know I asked you if you were one um, last last time, and I'm hoping that you'll be one this time if you can
Oh,
be. But a heart guide is somebody who is in that breakout room, like Mary said. You have a breakout room, and you go in there, and then you have a heart guide in there who is there to give you loves and hugs and share and keep things going, and so you feel like you have a sister right there in the breakout room with you. And so they're amazing. And the people who are going to be there this year are Dr. Stanley Roxon, who is um, the top medical doctor with lipedema. We're going to have um, Bill Rapici from Learn, Lymphatic Education and Research Network. We're going to have, of course, Dr. Leslyn Keith. She's our researcher. We'll have Siobhan, we'll have Catherine,
I
we'll
just
have
want to drop in that she's wonderful.
who's
Amazing.
wonderful.
She
Who's
knows
our
things.
wonderful one? Leslyn.
Mhm.
Leslyn is like Leslyn is like pure gold sitting right there.
Mhm.
I'll tell you. I got to meet her in person for the first time this year, and she is just like warm, comfortable, extraordinarily talented, and smart. I don't have enough words to say for Leslyn. Um, she is amazing. So anyway, I put the link to register, and in case anybody wants to register for Heart to Heart, just make sure that you know that this early bird special, I think it's going to end pretty soon. So make sure that you register for it, everybody out there, if you don't have it anyway. So Mary, when you were looking at information,
Mm-hmm.
was there any one piece of information that you found most helpful from our group, whether it's an ebook or a
From
pamphlet
Lipedema Simplified.
from Lipedema Simplified?
Okay. I not you asked that me the other day, and I said not really. It kind of depended on the time, and I found one the other day on the Lipedema Simplified on maybe Facebook that I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't seen before, and it was about me, about taking care of me and accepting and being, and darned if I can't remember what it was titled, but and it was really well done. And I'm the other ones. The other thing that's been really helpful is guidance in dealing with doctors,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and that's been really good. And there's a new little paper, little two-sided paper
Mhm.
about that very thing that's brand new that I saw. I
Right,
just
right. We do have it. We have it. It's called the Roadmap for Diagnosing Lipedema. It's by Lipedema Project, and it was written by Siobhan and Leslyn, Catherine, Dr. Carmody, um, and it actually. I'm going to put the link in the comments. So yeah, it's pretty cool. In fact, I looked at it last night. I was telling Mary earlier. You know how you see pictures and you think to yourself, "Ah, those are my legs." Well, here I was last night looking this over really closely. Um, and I thought, "Oh, those are my legs." And
wait,
they were actually a picture of my legs. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got a picture of me in this," um, which cracked me up because no matter, I'm self-diagnosed as well, Mary.
yeah,
I've had a doctor say, "Oh yeah, okay, I agree," but I haven't had a doctor go in there and go, "Oh, because of this, I'm going to
hmm
diagnose you at stage such and such and type such and such." For me, it was, this is what I have. I know it. I can see it in my body. And so when I saw the picture of me, I'm like, "Oh, that's my bathing suit bottom. Oh, and that's my bathing suit top. And look, there's my tattoo." I mean, that's me. When I saw that, I thought, "Oh my gosh, I'm not the only one." I mean, Leslie, Catherine, Siobhan, all these experts are going, "Yeah, let's use this picture because it shows lipedema," right? And I'm thinking, wow, that's crazy. I got affirmation. So now I've got, you guys, if you want to print it out, send it to me. I'll sign it.
you could just make lots of copies and autograph them and just print them out and send them to everybody.
Oh my gosh. But and I have not seen a CLT. I have a question here, but before I answer that, Kathy, I want to say, so take a chance. Seriously, I just dropped it in this roadmap for diagnosing lipedema. Take a chance and click on that link, and you'll have to go through a process. You have to actually like give them your email so they can get the link to you, and then um, the front of it, or one side of it. Oh, there we go, Kath. Mary, thank you. The front of it has information for your doctor. But before you take it to your doctor, read it yourself and then flip it over.
This is the best right
And
here.
that's the back. Yeah, and that's for you, the patient. Now, Dr. Nelson, you're on here as well. You print these out. Discuss it with your patients. If you're a clinician, look at this and discuss it with your patients, because for your patient, it is, if they're carrying it, it is a conversation starter. And also for clinicians, it can be a conversation starter for a patient who might be in a bit of denial. Many of us go into denial when we find out we have lipedema.
And it's got the QR code will take the clinician further and deeper into the rationale and research for this. So
Right,
they
right.
won't just think it's some craziness.
Well,
I filled it out on the back and wrote by each one of these little pictures. Yes, that's me. And uh, the things that weren't me, I didn't mark. But there's so much of it that you don't realize it till you see it all in print. Gosh, I have several of these things. So
right, right. And Mary, there is I think there's a level of denial in some of us,
oh,
because we go, oh yeah, I don't want one more thing. We also find that doctors don't know what to do with us
mm-mm.
because they can't necessarily treat us, but they can refer us. And like Kathy Plavkin says, have you seen a CLT? They can diagnose. I have not seen a CLT because I didn't go that direction. I took lipedema, the disease they call fat documentary, and the clinician's handbook down to my doctor and said, this is what I have. And she looks at it and she goes, oh, I think you do. Right then, I thought, okay. So if I want a diagnosis as far as what stage I'm in or something like that, I will go someplace to get that diagnosis. But for me, that was enough. Some of us need a deeper diagnosis, and others just need to know what we can do to help treat and manage this disease.
Can I
The other
mention another? I'm sorry, I keep
you
interrupting.
you keep interrupting me. I mean, I'm happy. They're all happy you're interrupting
Um,
me.
there's another group called the Lipedema Foundation. Would that be right? They have they have done their own clinician's guide, and it's laminated. You can order them. I think you can have 5 or 6. So I got them, and they're really good. And I recommend, if get one of those. It's online, so you can print it out, but these are a little more substantial. But
Yeah.
it's a more detailed thing than the Lipedema project, but they're both doing the same thing. And for someone that lives in a place where there no doctors know anything much about it, I have to be my own advocate. I have to
Yeah.
go in and say, look at this,
Yes.
and this is me.
And that's the truth for so many of us. You have to be your own advocate. And we can remember, being our own advocate, we're also advocating for others.
Hmm.
Mary, as you tell your story, other people, they're hearing their story in your words as well. So, by advocating for ourselves, we're also advocating for the other patients in our age group, and we're telling the younger ones who might not be progressed as far or who haven't gone through menopause yet, this is this might be what happens. Keep your eyes open. You said something about with your heart to heart circle that one of the women are now asking about nutrition advice.
Yeah,
Well,
the other night she just texted us all and said, I'm interested in learning. She was interested in learning about vitamins and things that people are taking that may help the lipedema. And so I found her a research paper, which I sent her, and the research librarian. But it was a good discussion, and we talked about things that we were taking, and
Yeah.
some people weren't taking anything. So
Yeah. And I know that anytime someone's going to take a supplement or something, please check it with your doctor or your pharmacist to make sure that you're not taking something that's going to mess up your other medications. It's always important for your doctor to know, especially if you're on medications for other things, what you're taking. You don't take supplements willy-nilly. That's what I always say, because it can get you into trouble. So anyway, um, Mary, it's been, well, 40 minutes now, and I'm so glad that you're here with us. Usually at the end, I shouldn't say usually, always, always at the end of my broadcast, I ask my guests if you have one message that you would like to see echoed around the world, what would it be? This is your chance to shine.
well, um, I just kind of like look at me. I'm here, and I'm important, and I think that's it.
Yeah, we're all important, right? Look at me, see me,
Hmm.
look at yourself, see yourself. You're important. Yeah, that's an amazing way to end this. So I would like to expand that on that, Mary. I'm so glad that you have stepped forward and become a part of our community. I see you and I hear you, just like you see me and you hear me, and I love all the conversations that we have. Um, with with that, I wish everybody a good night, and and if you're listening to this as a replay, I hope that you have a wonderful day.